Test, test, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. Wait, why is this? There we go. Okay. How are we gonna do this? We can put a progress bar. We don't need that here. I think that makes it cleaner. List materials. What am I doing? I'm going to put it here. Oh, fuck. That's not where that goes. Okay, where's the progress bar? Hmm. Okay. Is there a thing? Where the hell is the progress bar? What the hell? How do you start the damn thing? I'm streaming. I'm in the middle of recording this on YouTube. Okay. That is not what I'm looking for. Why? Okay, whatever. I don't need this. I'm not dealing with this right now. What I need is start playing around with the running stuff. Items, no, what was it? It was item source. And that means in window view model. What we need is running systems. What do I need to start? Let's do observable collection. Okay. Then let's do main. Okay. And then here we can say running system and running systems. Running. Okay, thank you, Copilot. Okay, now. What? Oh. And now here. What? I think you were on yesterday when I was streaming, if I remember correctly. Can you hear me okay, by the way? Because I'm using a different mic today. I didn't feel like wearing a headset. I'm making an engine and a game, but more of a it's more of a demo. This little game right now. I'll show you what I mean. If I run this, it's a little side scroller that I'm just using to actually set up the systems and sort of build out the engine. So as I go forward, as I build this, like let's say I want to do like a item pickup or whatever, AI system, whatever it is, this thing will basically set the requirements, and then I'll build out the engine further. But right now, what I've been spending a lot of my time is getting this like UI set up, so I can actually have like a shell around the engine and get like this little viewport in here and start doing some introspection, looking at the running systems, and just kind of getting it all tied together. But yeah, this is obviously a tiny little demo that I made, but there's still some stuff to work out. Like you see, the alpha blending's a little screwy here, but there's quite a bit going on behind the scenes. Like if you look at the events underneath here, you'll see that there's like an animation system, render systems, little particle system, and then there's like gameplay stuff like damage system, etc., controls. So these are all like, I have to figure out how to get this thing to auto scroll as I'm running, but you can see it's like pushing events. Everything is event driven. There's like an ECS, but it's kind of like my own take on an ECS in the engine. And at the core, I wanted like a nice event system so that I can roll out gameplay stuff, like really kind of focusing on gameplay systems, So, but I do want to go in the. I want to do another demo like this, but a 3D game, and so the things that I want to work on kind of coming up are related to. Was it you that I was talking to? I feel like your portrait is familiar, but was it you I was talking to you about 3D stuff, or was it someone else yesterday? I can't remember. Oh, yeah, maybe it was someone else. Somebody was asking about like my ZBrush and Marmoset icons here. I thought maybe it was you because your profile looks familiar. Um, but anyways, yeah, I'm kind of looking to. I have a game that I have a game that I built for mobile that was kind of a puzzle game called Triptych, and I want to take that game and kind of do like a remaster, if you will, and do it in 3D. And to do that, I want to kind of push the engine through that, and it's nothing like it's nothing crazy, right? Like it's not. Okay, I remember. I remember chatting with you about Godot. Um, yeah, like a lot of the new tools are kind of built around USD. I don't know if you're familiar with Pixar's USD. So that's the direction I want to take. And in order to facilitate kind of working with USD data behind the scenes, I wanted to get like something that's got a really mature UI framework so that I can build UI around controlling all this stuff. Yeah, GLTF is cool. Like I have a GLTF importer that I wrote. Like where's my thing? Sorry. Like if I go to my GitHub, I have a where is it? I have a bunch of stuff in here. TF. But yeah, I wrote my own GLTF parser. This is for my old engine, and everything was kind of built um, around GLTF. But it's an interchange format, and that's all. And it's a really good interchange format, but that's really all it is. Like it carries your animation data, texture data, material data, all that stuff. It's really good, but if you want to take advantage of other tools more than having to build a lot of stuff yourself, like for example, I want to do my modeling inside of Maya or Blender, right? Like I don't want to build a bunch of modeling tools on my own here for like blockouts or even just world building or whatever. Like I want to take advantage of the tools that are out there for 3D modeling and texturing and everything else. And then I want to bring everything from them directly into my engine and then kind of layer on top the engine specifics, like which components are bound to which entities and stuff like that, which, Maya knows nothing about that stuff, but Maya knows how to take a mesh and lay it out and instance it, and kind of you can build an entire world with it. But you don't want to use Maya to define your, like, you use Godot, right? Like you're not going to use your modeling tool to define your gameplay systems or gameplay components that are attached to everything. So USD is amazing for that because you can build everything in, let's say, Maya or Blender, and then export a USD and then work on top of that 3D layer and kind of layer on top the gameplay systems and the gameplay specific stuff. So I guess what I'm trying to say in short is like, I need good UI to be able to like open the USD, click on an entity, and then kind of tell it, this thing that in Maya is just a mesh or an instance of a mesh is a exploding barrel, and I attach like a health component to it and whatever. Yeah, I've seen that plugin. I actually watched the video the other day of a guy kind of, I think he was pushing his plugin or something, and he was showing his workflow. And like, yeah, you can do that, but I highly suggest looking at what USD is and why everybody's using it and why it's part of the whole kind of workflow, because it's so much more than a interchange format like GLTF. Like GLTF is great because it just gives you the data, and then for the most part you can just load it right into VRAM, and then there you go, your model, your mesh loaded, your texture loaded, your animations are easy to parse. Like I said, I built a parser for it. I love GLTF, but if you want to leverage other tools, there's literally no comparison between GLTF and USD. Like they're worlds apart in that regard. GLTF is just an import-export format, whereas USD is like your working format, right? Like Maya will work directly on top of what's called the USD stage, and like the work will get saved into USD, and then somebody else who's doing texturing will layer their own sort of texturing data on top of that stage, and the engine will layer its own engine-specific data on that stage, and everyone's kind of working together on that. What USD calls stages, like a stage, like an act kind of thing, and it's designed for different systems to work on the same thing. Not so much, and like calling it an interchange format is actually wrong, right? Like it's definitely not that. It's for collaboration and for teams that use all kinds of different tools that have different strengths to work together, which is why I want to use it, because I can leverage Maya for all the modeling and everything, and then my engine will literally see those updates live as it's working on the USD stage, right? So it would be wicked if I had something running that I can show you, but highly recommend. I was talking about this yesterday on the stream. The guys at Remedy, funny enough, actually, like I saw their video after, so I'm not copying their idea, I swear to God, but they've kind of done exactly what I've been planning on doing, in that like they use USD. They have a C# app that they're leveraging. I don't know what UI framework they're actually using. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Avalonia or WPF. But they're using C# for the UI because you're just way more productive doing UIs in .NET. And their backend is, of course, C++. And then they use gRPC for their C# tooling to talk to their engine backend. And everything is USD driven, like everything. And they have an excellent talk that I posted on the channel yesterday. I can dig it up again if you're interested, but they're basically doing exactly what I've been sort of thinking of doing. You're selling yourself short, maybe. I don't know. I mean, you know yourself, so it's your call, really. But it's open source. OpenUSD is open source. It's not like where is it? OpenUSD, right? Like this is the website, and I'm pretty sure their GitHub is also get and build. Yeah, so you can literally go to the GitHub of OpenUSD and knock yourself out. Like, check out all this stuff. This is something Pixar built ages ago for their own internal pipelines, or not ages ago. I don't know how long ago, but they've had so much success with it because they have all kinds of different tools that they use to make these crazy films, that they were like, hey, let's open source this. And they were calling it USD, and they open sourced it as OpenUSD. And it's not really for corporate stuff. It's I'm surprised Godot is not using it. I think Unreal and Unity are already kind of embracing it. So yeah. So anyways, I got to get this stuff kind of rolling so that I can start sort of chipping away at some of the USD stuff. I just got this stuff all tied together, which was a bit of a mission. Yesterday, I got like a Vulkan to Vulkan integration here. Essentially, like this UI runs and it has this viewport control that I built, which essentially takes like my engine's rendering texture, like my engine renders to a texture, and my app kind of picks that texture up and displays it inside this little viewport here, just GPU to GPU. So there's like no copying of bits and bytes, but I decided to make it work a little better today. I'm not gonna bore you with the details, but anyways, this is now working pretty nice. It's like Vulkan kind of creates the render texture, and then Avalonia kind of looks at it. And now this is my engine running in here, and the texture is just being sampled by the runtime that the UI is using, and it's just plopping it in here so I can see what my engine is doing in real time, as you would expect, right? So the next thing I need to do, actually, you know what I wanted to check? I wanted to test this with my, no. Where is it? Where is it? Platformer. So this is like this little game project. The way the engine works is you provide this like game lib DLL that the engine loads at runtime. So I have the engine runtime here, right? This is the C# project. This is just UI. And then here, let me collapse all these. This one you can ignore. This one you can also ignore for now. But the engine has this runtime. So it's got like some runtime systems. Like this is a brand new engine I'm building. So right now I'm focusing hardcore just 2D to make sure like all my core systems are working well, and I'm not like super focusing on rendering and all this other stuff, which is fun, but like I need an engine. I need like a good foundation for that. So essentially I've been working on the Vulkan renderer the last little while, and essentially all the systems that the engine uses to operate are in here with some of like the core components. And then this is a DLL, like the runtime of the engine. And then you have GameLib, which is just a tiny DLL that, well, tiny, depends on the size of the game, obviously. But in this case, it's a tiny DLL that's basically just the game. And what happens is the engine is a DLL, the game is a DLL, and then there's like a little exe that sort of bootstraps the whole thing and kicks off the engine and the game DLL. And it starts the, everything kind of derives from an application. And the application gets kicked off, and it kind of registers its own systems and all that stuff. And what are you asking about? Whether this engine is going to work on Linux? Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm focusing on Vulkan as much as I'd like to actually work in DirectX, because I like it a little bit more. But that's why I spent so much time actually getting this Avalonia stuff working, because it's probably the best cross-platform UI framework I've seen up until now. I mean, I've worked with Qt quite a bit. Qt, I don't know if you've seen that. But it's just everything takes forever in Qt, and just I don't know. I'm not as nowhere near as productive. Whereas here you have like this XAML UI configuration. Everything just works a lot nicer. The licensing's a lot better. Though Qt's not really a problem with the licensing if you're careful. But yeah, this Avalonia is like great on Linux, on Mac, on web, everything. Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe you have experience with XAML, but yeah, if you follow like the MVVM stuff closely, like if you're familiar with how that stuff is supposed to be set up, you can make UIs much more quickly with this. Like just yeah, I've done some WPF in the past. Most of my time in .NET was like back in, I used to work for a bank in like 2006 in like ASP.NET, and I did some WinForms, and WPF was just kind of becoming a thing back then. And I thought it was cool. And then recently I actually built some tooling, game engine tooling in WPF, and I was like, fuck, I like this. And then I stumbled on Avalonia, which is completely cross-platform, and it kind of takes WPF and it makes like little improvements, makes it nicer. Oh shit, how do I pronounce your name? Kayal? I'm not even gonna try. I'll just call you K. What's up, man? Yeah, like it makes if you've worked with WPF, then like you probably know how you gotta like do shit like this, like row definitions, or if you have a grid. Kayal, all right, Kayal. Um, Oops, actually it's grid row. I think it's how you do it. Row definitions, and then you gotta like list all this stuff. Like Avalonia does all the same shit, but like little things like puts it on one line. I bet I can pronounce your name if I could hear it. I don't know where the accent is. Is it Kayal? I'm Bulgarian. I can pronounce everything. Believe me. People are always like, "Oh yeah, you said that perfectly." I don't know why they sound like Keanu Reeves. Oh yeah. Shit, what did I say? What was the second one? Kayal. I would assume because Kyle sounds way too like North American, and your name seems more ethnic than that. So Kayal, I assume. See, told you. It's my Bulgarian genes. Okay, so what was I doing here? Let's do this. I don't remember what you were working on, Kayal. Or did we talk about anything? I remember your name from yesterday, I think. Actually, do I want to do it like this? Hmm. I mean, if you're, yeah, I've heard people really like Godot for kind of doing UIs, but yeah, they have like their. I think it's. I've never used Godot. Funny enough, I think my architecture, from what I saw, is close to what Godot does for this engine. Like I haven't actually. Oops, that's the wrong one. I haven't actually like finalized stuff yet. Where's my node.h? But like node ID. Am I looking at the right thing? My I think I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted because I think yeah. This is the wrong project. I need to unload this because this is old. This is less old. This is the one. I think Godot kind of does a similar architecture to what I've kind of done here because I was watching something recently just because I've never seen like do they have an ECS, do they do like game object, or like I have no idea how you architect your stuff, but I think I saw that they also have a node, and it's kind of a more traditional scene graph sort of thing. Not under the hood, like when you make a game, right? Like you're making. Okay, yeah. Well, I got to dig into it a little bit. I'm just curious how it works, but I've sort of taken like an ECS, but kind of gone with also a more traditional kind of node based approach. So it's not a pure ECS because they're kind of annoying to work with. But yeah, I thought maybe you'd know if it was similar. I thought I saw that they use nodes, but I don't think they have any ECS built into it. Okay. So what I want to do is, okay, yeah, it makes sense. It's a scene graph. My last engine was like pure traditional ECS, and it was just kind of annoying to work with. Like once I started, once I stopped working on the engine and started trying to use it for a game, it was just not a nightmare, but I felt like I was just fighting with it. So the goal here is to make something that's much more pleasant to work with when you're making a game, and then focusing less on optimizing it up front, but more like ease of use, so that you can actually make games with it easily and comfortably, and then I can optimize it later. How should I do this? How should I do this? I was looking at something. I was looking at what is it? Proto? No, not proto buffs. Fuck. Pretty sure I had it open. Flat buffers. That's what it was. There you go. I think it was no. So basically, the point that I'm at here now is I don't want to do this across DLL boundaries between the tool and the engine. Like I want. Where's my pop-up? I want to develop a game engine. I started learning C++, spending 2 hours. Cool. Well, that's the problem, Brum, is that like that's what I've been doing forever. Like I built a couple of little games, but like I find myself just sitting there, and it's exactly kind of what I was just saying, is that like you get everyone has a hard on for building an engine, and this is why like everyone is like, oh, ECS, ECS, and like no one's making games. Everyone is just like architecting and like talking about how fast they want to make their engine, and I'm like, okay, can I see like when you search ECS, for example, on YouTube, everyone is like talking about the technology. No one is showing how they use it. And then when you dig into it, you see that no one's actually making games with it because it fucking sucks for making games. Like it's just irritating, right? Like, for example, I'll show you something. Like if I think I was showing this or something around this yesterday, like stuff like this, right? Let me see what you're saying. You know what, Kayal? I would say the best thing to do is like build a game alongside with your engine. Otherwise, you won't know what you're building and like what you need. And that's what I found is that like I read all these books. Like I have my little wall of books here. I have game engine architecture and game engine gems from the '90s up until like recent years, and I have all these cool books on like building all these systems and things. And then you have this like hard on for engineering, but you're never making a game. Like you're spending all your time just engineering shit. And then like what happened with me is like I had this ECS. It was fast, it was performant, the engine was built with Vulkan, the rendering was happening, and I started adding lighting and this and that. Then I tried making a simple breakout clone in 3D, and my engine sucked. Like I hated that. I have the third edition right here. Hold on, let me. I have the third edition. I don't know if you can see it well in the camera. I don't think I'm gonna buy the fourth edition. I bought I think I had the first edition, then I bought the third and donated the first. And it doesn't look like the fourth one is really doing anything that I really give a shit about, to be honest with you. I think I saw the notes for it. It was a little disappointing. I don't know. We'll see. I I like the book, but I don't know if there's enough to buy another tome. Fuck. I keep getting sidetracked. I don't know what the hell I was saying. Oh yeah, what I was saying was like my other engine is. Let me see. I think I have the GitHub. I go back to my GitHub. Where are my repos? Projects. No. Repos. I haven't touched it in a while. Boiler 3D. There we go. I don't know if this is even like the latest branch. Like, I did quite a bit of work in this thing. If is this? I don't even know if this is the latest branch. Oh, no, it's not. This is just the executable. Sorry. See, like, I haven't touched this in so long that I don't even remember. I started it like 10 years ago. I started adding stuff, you know? But it's got quite a bit. Like, it was using IMGUI, input systems, and there's platform specific stuff. Where's the rendering stuff? If this is the latest, and I think this is, yeah, it was like loading stuff from C++ features included. Yeah, see, I won't get that book for C++. To be honest, like there's better books for C++ features I would recommend. But if he has some more interesting chapters on like actual engine core systems, I may buy another one. But I'm not buying that book for a third time if it's nothing. But anyways, yeah, I had this engine, and then I had like demos in there, and I think one of them I started was, or maybe this isn't. Oh no, it's a separate repo, and I tried to make like a 3D breakout clone, and like it was just annoying to work with. So that's to my point. Like this one, I'm kind of focusing more on. I want to make little games and game demos along with the engine so that I can actually know what the hell I'm doing as I build the engine, and not just like little independent pieces that may or may not be good. Like to me, this is the kind of code I wanted to write with my old engine, where like I have a system. Let me see. I have like let's say the particle system, right? Like this thing is always running, right? Like the particle system is always running, but these systems also have native support for events. Yeah, Bjarna's book's good. Um, Also, Scott Myers has some good books. Like there's a whole bunch of good C++ books you can find. I wouldn't get Jason Gregory's book for that stuff. Unless you don't have a copy already, then I'd highly recommend buying it because it's an excellent book. I have to go back and look at what the fourth edition has. Like, let me see. Game engine architecture for. See, I looked it up the other day. It's 2 decades. Yeah. Brand new chapters covering 3D rendering and photorealistic lighting, like PBR, I'm guessing. But I have better books on PBR, I'm sure. Motion matching. Actually, that sounds kind of cool. I did see that. I thought that was interesting. I don't care about the compiler stuff. I don't care about the C++ stuff. And I don't care about his improved index. But I'll have to see. You know what? I'll be honest. I might get a. I might get a PDF of this and just sort of see if I like it. And if I like the book, I'll buy it. Like I'll support it because I think he's done an amazing job with that series. Like I definitely don't want to just download a PDF, but I think I'm gonna check it out first. But honestly, like it's a huge book. I don't know if I want to have another one on my shelf just for this. So we'll see. So here's where I'm at. Yeah, Brum, I think that's what this kind of is right here. I don't know if you saw this. He's kind of just showing sort of some of the new stuff. I could probably go through and compare these things a little bit, but I don't know. I have so many books, honestly. Like, I don't know if I want more books. You get like I was gonna say analysis paralysis, but that's not what that is. You can be stuck. Yeah, you're right. It's not that detailed. You can get stuck like reading tutorials and books and never doing anything. And like I do that a lot. Like I just have this like hard on for engineering, and that's sort of kind of goes back to what I was just talking about before. Like you spend so much time architecting and engineering, and then you go back and you're like, I built a piece of shit. Like it's fast, but like I can't make any games with it. So it's because I read what you guys are saying and I start blabbing. Okay, so here's where I'm at. Yeah, I keep getting distracted because I'm interested in these topics. I was going to use gRPC, and I still may use gRPC. Essentially, what I want to do is get away from, even though this is kind of easy, it's not really safe and it gets a little annoying to work with. But essentially, this one. So every bit of communication between the tooling and the engine happens across a DLL boundary, right? So I have this like game. I should move some of this stuff. Anyways, I'll worry about that after. But essentially, I have this DLL that C# talks to the engine through, which I don't want to do this for everything. So what I think I want to do, and not only do I not want to do this for everything, I want, I don't even like the setup because as you can see right now, it's like the game library that's exporting this, which doesn't make any sense. So what I need to do is I want to get the engine to kind of run a server. You're hardcore, eh, buddy? I'm blabbing all day because I've been coding all day. Yeah, I want the engine to kind of run a server. And how should I do this? So maybe I'll start with gRPC and see how it goes. Because I got this built out previously. Okay. No, okay, so I'm looking at the wrong thing. gRPC. App sale. So let me see. No. gRPC C++ quick start. Where's the CMake, buddy? Where's the CMake? I think it's just gRPC. Let's see. Oh, if I do this now, VC package is gonna. No. Okay, that's what I thought. So if I rebuild, I'm just hoping this thing doesn't try and pull in. Okay, because last time I did this, I used VC package to kind of get the library set up. So it's a script in Python, easy to use. It compiled 50 gigs of bullshit, like intermediates. So, anyways, I compiled gRPC myself, but it was ridiculous. It took 2 hours to build, which is insane because I don't know why it was so inefficient. Like this thing should not be 50 gigs, like literally 50 gigs. So what I need to do is tell it where to find gRPC, and that is this folder. And what I need to do, I think I can just go cmake-s-b. Let's go with tooling, since I'm in the tooling mode. It's not 50 gigs. It's just Microsoft's retarded fucking package manager made it 50 gigs. Like, it's a big library that Google uses for all of its like system-to-system communication. It's basically protobufs. So it's like this binary protocol that different systems can talk to each other through. Like, it's super efficient and nice. But like it's a big tool. It's not a small tool, but like when you bring it in with VC package, it pulls in the code and builds all these different versions of it. I don't know what the hell it was doing. I left it alone because I wasn't expecting it to be that big. And then when it finished, I looked at the folder and all its like compiled source code and all that bullshit was like literally 48 gigs. And I'm like, I'm not using this tool for that. So I just downloaded the source code myself. I built it, and it's substantially smaller. Like, I don't even remember how big it is, but it was way smaller. So I might try it. And what it is like you run a server, and so one side is defining like a communication protocol, and it defines these. Let me show you actually, because I gotta look at some of this stuff myself. But essentially, you set up like a service and the types of messages that you want to pass through that service, and the C++ side will like it'll generate C++ structs and classes for you that you can use to send back and forth over the wire. And you do the same thing on the C# side, and both systems can now talk over this binary protocol using these simple messages. And C++ will just run the engine, and C# will just send messages, and then they can respond to one another. So you're not having to do shit over DLL, which is unsafe and kind of annoying. The communication's real time, but the compilation obviously is just once, right? Like when you build your project, it looks at your protobuf files and it sees like, oh, you have a message called hello request. So it'll generate a class with a string inside of it. And then you can start sending that class from C# or from C++ and vice versa. So it'll just generate some code for you, put it somewhere, and you connect one side to the other, and that's it. Think like, I don't know if you've ever used like a RESTful API or something, right? So instead of passing JSON around though, which is kind of heavy and slow because you got to parse it, this is sort of designed that it just gets picked up and deserialized much faster. Like it's not like I think it doesn't use any text at all. It's all just binary. Like it just converts the bits to like an object. So it's way faster for communication. And it's exactly what you need for a tool, right? If you want to cross language boundaries, it's agnostic, right? So what I'm trying to do, what I'm gonna do is bring it in. So I've added it here, but CMake can't find it. That's because I need to make sure that it knows where to find it. And that's CMake prefix path equals think is this like a... I'm willing to bet that VC package is like overwriting my... Oh no, I found it. Okay. Package configuration file, but it was set false, so package is considered to not. Why? Oh, okay. Really? I probably have to bring in libprotobuf into my project. Let me see. Okay, that, I think that did it. Did it do it? Because I definitely built, and I see protobuf is in here. All right, there's protobuf right here, and then there's the compiler library. So this stuff is all in there. The includes should be in there for gRPC. So it's all there. I don't... Let me see, what was that other issue that I had? Was it here? Package name passed define package, blah, blah, blah. Package name passed define package handle standard package protobuf does not match the name calling back. So maybe it's because I just need to... It seems like it's backwards. It says protobuf does not match the name. Oh no, it's complaining that I called it protobuf with lowercase, but the name is protobuf with a whatever. Looks like the error is gone, and I should be able to now compile and link. I'm curious though. Built tooling. How big this thing is going to be. Oops. No. If I link the engine against it. Okay, so what is this? Right now, I think it is 49 megs, right? Is the lib. This 49 with 6 digits. Let's have a look. Let me see. I thought I had it there. Never mind. Okay, let's have a look. If I link against it now, if this thing makes the engine massive, it's going to be a little frustrating. Though this is only for tooling, so it's not like it's going to make the runtime of the engine massive. What is it? gRPC, gRPC. Okay. Will that link? That should link. It failed. Why are you failing? Okay, so what the fuck am I supposed to link against? What C++ features? Honestly, whatever I need depends. Like, I try to stay up to date with the newer ones. But since C++ 11, some of the newer stuff that I like, obviously smart pointers are great. Move semantics is probably one of my favorite things to kind of save on copies and all that. There's a lot of stuff. Optional's nice. I'm waiting for the new C++ reflection stuff to get finalized. That stuff is really cool. Highly recommend checking out. Scott Myers did a talk showing what you can do. It's going to be amazing for what I'm doing for some of the tooling stuff. Build locally. I don't need to build locally. I need to link. Link with gRPC CMake. What is... Okay. I guess server. This probably has its own find package. Like, where is... That's why I never read sample code. Like, where's the find package? There it is. Okay, so the client is the only one that uses. Target include. Okay, so it's like lower. Oh man, okay. Now are you gonna link? Yes, that worked. Why would they do that? Why is this uppercase and this lower? Like, stuff like that bothers me, but whatever. So this should give me the compiler. I'm just gonna look at what this guy's doing. So where do you compile protobuf and gRPC files in my proto target? Okay. So it looks like the way this guy's doing it is he's got like his server, for example. This is kind of a nice way to do it. Yeah, so he's got like his client and server apps, and they don't know anything about gRPC necessarily, like compiling protobufs and all that kind of stuff. And then he's linking my proto, which is the generated code, which is exactly, I think I should do it like this as well. Like I'll create a library called my proto, and it'll pull in the proto buffer files from somewhere. So let's take a look. When the hell did I close Visual Studio? Or did it crash? I think maybe this thing crashed before or something. You know, everything looks daunting until you sink your teeth into it. Don't even worry about not knowing shit. I remember I started writing C++ when I was a kid, and then I didn't do any C++ for ages, like because my career was always C# and Java. And then I got back into this stuff. I got interested in all this C++ game programming stuff, and it felt daunting because like there's just so much shit. And I went to school for computer science. We did C and C++, but then when you don't do it for a while, you kind of just forget everything. And yeah, I kind of felt like, oh my god, like I don't know anything anymore, and all my shit was crashing because all the best practices for like pointer management, and ownership, semantic, and all this stuff, like all that shit was just over my head. So what the hell? But yeah, you spend enough time learning, you'll think back on how you feel now, and you're gonna be like, wow, I can't believe I was worried about that. Catastrophic error. What error? E unexpected. This is like the least descriptive error I've ever seen. But I don't think anything's actually broken. Yeah, just I'm kind of getting a little sick of Visual Studio, I'll be honest. Like it's such a heavy tool and it keeps shitting the bed with like basic IDE stuff. Like implement methods. Unable to implement like why am I loading up an IDE if you can't do basic shit? Like I might as well just use NeoVim or Emacs, even though Emacs is pretty heavy. But like sometimes I'm like, why am I using a fucking IDE? Like if then I open like Rider or some other IDE and they're all shit. Like they're all just slow and kind of fail at basic things. But whatever. It's what I'm used to. Okay, so there was no error apparently. Does everything run? If I switch this. It runs okay for me. I'll be like, I can't hate on it for that too much. This computer is like ancient that I'm working on. Okay, that works. So I don't know what there was no error. It's just I have to use VI with everything, by the way. Like I have like the Vim extension in Visual Studio. I turn on Vim mode in VS Code if I use it. I use Evil mode in Emacs. Like everything has to be Vim for me because I got used to it and there's no going back. Okay, so what I have, I think the way I want to do this actually is, where's my engine worker? This is inside of my tooling. So essentially what I think I'll do, and like NeoVim, yeah, I should probably give it another shot. It's just, I can't, the debugger in Visual Studio and the diagnostic tools are just too good. Like I can't. That's why like I'll take Emacs with like LSP mode and all that stuff over anything for editing. Like I love Emacs and just that's what I used for years. But like I found myself just crippling myself and working with like a shitty command line debugger because Emacs. Like look at this. Where's my syntax highlighting right now? I mean the debugger in Visual Studio is pretty easy. Like there, F9 that sets a breakpoint. I hit F5 to run with. Actually, I have C++ debugging enabled right now, or disabled rather. But I have to use my mixed mode. But if I hit F5, like it just starts up, right? The debugger attaches. It's all automatic, right? Like this is every IDE does this. And then you have all this like inspection. Like there's nothing to it. If something crashes, you got your call stack, you got your output, your debug output. You have the call stack is great, right? Like you can follow where you're coming from, right? What called what? Like, and this is kind of cool. Like, look, like there's no way I'm gonna get this on some command line, right? Yeah, you got to get away from print debugging. Like it's not the right way to do it. Trust me. Like, look at this. This is the call stack is multi-language. Like it'll show me how I'm going from C# to C++, right? Like that's crazy. That it like it's crossing boundaries, right? Which is amazing. And then I go back to where I'm actually at. I can go line by line. It's right, and just execute whatever it's. I don't know. You've seen a debugger, I'm sure. Is it a lot better? It's better than every front end everywhere. Well, what are you coding in that you don't have a debugger? Like everything has a debugger, right? Like it's the only people that don't use debuggers I've noticed are like PHP and Python people because setting up a debugger in those languages is a pain in the ass for people who never done it. Godot has no debugger for like GD script or anything. Like there's no way to attach. That seems pretty annoying actually. So what I'm gonna do, but it's enough that you can like put a breakpoint and inspect your variables, right? Like, yeah, okay, that's enough. As long as you can see like a call stack and inspect some variables, like you're good, right? That's all you really need. What the fuck is going on with my syntax highlighting? See, this is what I mean, like basic IDE shit, you know? Found a suitable location for browser. Okay, I don't care what you found. That's great. Okay, now it's... So what I think I want to do is inside of this worker, this is the thing that kind of wraps the engine. I want to try to include, I'll play around in here. Include, let's see, did I link against gRPC properly? RPC, yes I did. grpc.h. Let's make sure. It sounds too good to be true, but we'll try it. Okay, so what I want to see actually is the engine didn't change in size. Demos, platformer. How big is the game DLL? 2, 3, 24 megs. It has, well, I guess it's because I'm not calling any code. So that's a good sign. That means everything, I should know how this stuff works better, but I don't. But it looks like it's probably going to pull in only what I use, hopefully. So let's just see. Honestly, for game programming, printing sometimes is more useful than putting breakpoints, because a lot of that stuff kind of happens frame over frame, and putting breakpoints does nothing for you. Like sometimes you need to see the values changing, so I get it. Okay, so let's see. How do you make a server? Let's look at this. So you've got gRPC, grpc.h, server builder. Okay. You have to make a service. Okay, so I think what I need to do first is define like a basic service. I'm going to call it my engine service. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a folder. Can I open this here? Okay, and in here we'll go with close this. We will go with moving engine. Yeah, I'll just do it here for now. Then in here, new okay. Actually, and then let's go to STL engine protobuf. Okay, so I'm gonna put a thing in here. Let me see how you do the protobufs. My proto. I don't. Oh, I'm fucking blind. Okay, address book. So you define. You define a. That's kind of cool. You can like import stuff directly. I don't know how it knows where everything is, but okay, so I'm gonna make like an engine service, and I'm gonna have like a start thing. Let's try that. Actually, no. Can't do that. I'm gonna have a... We'll see what I'm gonna have. I'm just gonna get started. Let's go Vim, and you need syntax. What is the official tutorial showing? Okay, why, blah, 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 service. Do I have to like... What is this? Okay, I'll use this. Definition, specifying. Okay. Service, let's go service, render, service. I'll try and keep these separate. And then what did you branch off? I'm guessing the game development video, Jason? So first step, finding RPC service method request response types using protocol buffers. As you can see in the protocol. Okay, a simple RPC. Get feature, returns feature. Okay, so honestly, this guy's information is much more concise, or this one rather. I'm gonna say render service, RPC, get address, name query. Query is not with 2 R's. Okay, I'm gonna say RPC get info, and I want it to return returns. How do I message render info, and what are the types? He probably has some more. Oh, everything's a string in this example. Okay, I'm gonna assume there's an int, and what I want to do, why do I have 2 of these? Oh my god, did I close the other one? Git bisect is like one of the best features that no one uses, by the way. It's pretty simple. Like you basically tell it it goes from the current commit, and then you tell it a commit that isn't broken. Like let's say a week ago the code was working fine, and what it does is like it takes all the commits between there, and then it splits down the middle, and it goes, is this working? And you're like, it's not working. And then it knows that this part is still broken. So anything from here on into the future is broken. And then it kind of splits from here to the working one down the middle. And then it goes in the middle there, and it says, is this broken? And then you're like, no, this commit works. And then it goes between that one and the first non-working one, and it goes in the middle there. It goes, is this working? So it just keeps like bisecting. It keeps splitting until it finds the one commit that actually breaks it. And it's the syntax is kind of, or the usability is weird. It should be easier to use, but it saved my ass a few times. So it's quite a good feature of Git. Yeah, I used to be on Arch all the time. But each commit, you'll have to recompile the whole kernel. Not necessarily. Depends how much of the source changes, I think. I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't think you'll have to recompile everything if not everything has changed, right? It'll just look at like what's changed, right? Like it'll have the object files in the build directory, so you should be okay. But I'm no programmer, but dealing with like compiling the kernel is pretty funny. Fucking classic Linux. I love Arch though. That was my thing, but there's too many tools that I need that are not on Linux, so it's too bad. Okay, so let's try int. What's the? How do they recommend setting up the messages? Int 32. Okay, let's go with int 32. Int 32 is, we'll say max frames in flight. Okay, we'll start with that. And this returns, I think they had it render info, like that, if I'm not mistaken. Like, basic example should be much more basic than that. And why do I have to put brackets? Empty brackets. Wow, somebody watched my TMX video. Nice. Managed to create a level config and level order. I don't quite get how to make a proper engine. Mine is still an application. I mean, an engine is an application. I don't see the issue in that. Engine is just a word that we all like to use to make ourselves feel like bigger engineers, but really it's just an application that does a lot of things, right? Like, that's all. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is create, similar to that dude's my proto stuff, and I'm gonna say, I always forget the stuff, set engine sources. So what I'm gonna do is set proto sources, and I'm gonna say proto buff. What did I call this? No file name. That's nice. I'm gonna call this render.proto. Okay. And we're gonna say render.proto. I might have to install an extension for this. And I think what I need to do is, honestly, the official docs are nowhere near as good as this guy's example. What I need to do is create that library, proto files, and then, okay, so he's linking it against that. You don't need to do this. Actually, you do need to do this because it needs to be able to find them. And then I guess compile protobuf and gRPC, my proto target. Okay, let's try this. Let us try this. By any chance, do you have resources on either learn CPP or engine development? Well, for engine development, honestly, there's a lot of bits and pieces you can find all over the place, like different books. Like the one everyone recommends is Game Engine Architecture. We were talking about it earlier by Jason Gregory. For C++, honestly, just top books on Amazon. Tons of tutorials, CPPCon videos, CPP Now videos, like all that kind of stuff. Okay, so CCBP. Do you have to do this? Protolib, and then we'll say proto sources. I don't know where it's gonna. Actually, I do know where it's gonna put it all in my build directory. Okay, so I should link target link libraries. I think I need to do it public. How is he doing it public? Yeah. Target link libraries protolib. Yeah. Okay. Like. And then that means that anything that links to this will also get these because they're public. So then I'm just going to link my engine to protolib. Okay. Okay, let me just compile and see if so far so good. I've really been liking the game, what is it? Game Programming Gems books. I have a few of them. They're like little chapters on like event system and rendering this kind of thing. Profiler, you know, like all kinds of random stuff from industry veterans, which is kind of nice. Yeah, C++. I mean, you could learn C++ on the job, but you're going to hate your life. Like, you really should have a solid foundation. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at, like, you know, something happened yesterday. I, like, missed a semicolon on something, and it was, like, 194 errors. Like, that's ridiculous, right? You know what? There was a chapter in, what was it? Fuck, I was talking to somebody about it, about doing state machines, because I dug into state machines quite a bit a little while back, and I'm pretty sure one of those books had a thing. If you hop on the Discord, I'll look it up. There was a good chapter in one of the books. I can send it to you. I don't know if you're on the Discord already. Yeah, but Clang is still a C++ compiler, and C++ compilers are annoying. Can I message you? Or is this like too sophisticated of a feature? Can you message on YouTube? I don't even know. Because if you can DM me, I'll definitely I'll send you the chapter. You're talking like a finite state machine, right? For like your character switching from different states, so you're not like if else this, if else that, like a proper state machine. Here, let me paste the link to the server. Invite the server. You know what? Let me see something. I know I have. Excuse me. Okay, good. I'll paste the link in the channel, so whoever, yeah, like a finite state machine. That's usually what those are called. Um, there's a lot of content. You can find a lot of videos, I think, on YouTube as well that kind of handle that. I mean, I did that for this, right? Like, if you look at my game lib here, Vulkanize is great. There's a lot of interesting talks on there. If I look at my player control system, I'm pretty sure I have like a basic state machine here, right? Like it runs, idle, shooting, running, running and shooting, and then it kind of transitions to different states. I mean, this is not a very sophisticated one. You could do all kinds of more sophisticated things like swapping different classes in and out. Like you can have a state class and a bunch of classes that inherit from it, and you will like each class can have like a before transition and after transition method, and maybe an update method. And then when you switch to, let's say, you go from idle to shooting, the shooting transition, the shooting class rather, will have its like before transition called and after transition called when it switches away from it. And then while that's the current state, it has its update method running, and then it'll do like it'll do what state machines do, right? Like if you're in the running shooting state, then you only have to check these things. You don't have to check. That's the whole point, right? Like it's um, like look, this is about as simple as a state machine as it gets, right? It's just an enum. That is a state machine. So if I'm in the idle state, or if I'm in like the running or the running shooting state, um, then I only want to like I'm only going to check for the things that are relevant in the running and shooting state. Like I'm not going to check any other things. Like if I'm in the jumping state, I'm not checking if the player pressed the jump button, right? Like because I'm already in the jumping state. So that right away removes the problem of jumping over and over while you're still in the air, right? Like because when you go from idle to jumping, let's say, I don't have a jumping state here, I think, because jumping is just like a physics thing in my engine. Okay, let's say your player's like, watch. Oh my god, what broke? Fatal error, cannot open protolib. I have to link against protolib. 1 second. No, it's all good. Like this is fine. That's why I'm on here. If I wanted to just work, I wouldn't be streaming. Um, like I did a lot of work today already. I'm not on here like expecting to be super productive. Like today, I actually built a new Direct 3D renderer for this engine because Avalonia, the UI framework I was showing earlier, has like a very experimental Vulkan backend, and it had a bunch of validation errors. Like who was talking about Kyle? That's how it was talking about it. Like they shipped the product with validation errors popping up while the UI is working. I was like, what the hell? Why is this restarting? And so what I did was I'm using their like mature, fully functional backend, which is Direct3D 11. But then I'm like, my Vulkan renderer needs to send its viewport to the C# project. So in order for the C# project to be able to display it on screen, it has to be a Direct3D texture. And I was jumping through hoops, like I was working late last night trying to get Vulkan to export to a DirectX texture, which it looked like it can, but it turns out it kind of can't do it. So I built a direct 3D thing that creates a texture and it shares it with both my renderer and the UI. So my Vulkan renderer will import, it can import easily a direct 3D texture, and Avalonia can import that same shared texture. And I'm like, it's like a mediator. It's like, here you go, guys. This is what you'll be using. And then my engine draws to these textures. It's like triple buffered. And then Avalonia does the same thing, and then they use this little mutex to sort of synchronize each other. I'm going to do a video on it because it's actually really cool what's going on there. But I did have to jump through some hoops. So long story short, this was all today. Like, I've gotten pretty productive today. Now I'm just like, this is all bonus at this point. So, okay. Can we compile now? Oh my God, it's just rebuilding everything again. Okay, but to go back to your question, once this rebuilds, who decides what state you should be in? Your state machine does. In my case, for example, for the player control system, it receives an event, a collision event, right? Like my collision system will push out collision events, and any system that's interested in an entity, or a node rather, in my system it's called a node, that's interested in collision events, what I do is I have this, like I said, the central queue, and when this system is constructed, it says, hey, central queue, I give a shit about, I'll show you in a second. I'm telling the event queue, hey, I care about collision events. And then it doesn't have to be based on input or anything. A state machine is just a graph of states so that you don't have to have a flat list of things that you check in order to dictate what state you should be in. Each state dictates what states it can be in. So what that means is, like, if I have a collision event, right? On collision event, what I'm doing is I'm checking if I'm checking where the collision normal is. So the collision is with a surface that's pointing upward, so I'm landing on something essentially. And if I'm currently airborne or shooting, then I transition it into either running or idle, right? And this is it. The moment I collide with the ground, I'm either going straight into the running state or into the idle state, or shooting or running shooting, depending on the status of my gun, right? And then once I've landed and I'm in either one of these states, then in the actual update of my player control system, which manages the state machine, from the idle or running states, I can go into a shooting state, or I'm trying to remember how I did this, or back into an idle state, right? So I can probably make this a little nicer. Like, this is shooting thing is a little annoying, but just ignore it. But essentially, like, if my direction is 0, meaning I'm not moving, then I'm going to go into the idle state. If my direction is, this is a little check if I should, he does like a little tiny slide, but this just says if I'm moving one way, but my velocity is still the other way, then he kind of does this little slide, and he slides into the move, right? So if my direction, and this just checks if, like, these two things are different signs. Like, if I multiply x from this and x from that, and if it's negative, that means that they have a different sign, obviously, right? So if it's less than 0, then that means I should do a tiny little sliding animation. And there's a timer that dictates how long that slide should happen. But what I'm trying to show is, like, if I'm in the sliding or slide shooting animation, or state rather, not animation, then I only need to check the states. I only need to check for states that are relevant to a character that's currently sliding or sliding and shooting, right? So from sliding and shooting or sliding, I can only go to idle, or just ignore the shooting ones for now. Like if I'm sliding, I'm not gonna go. I can't jump, I think. Or no, the jumping is separate. If I'm sliding, I can only go to idle and running, right? If I'm running, I can go to idle or sliding, and if I'm idle, I can only go to running. I can't go to sliding from an idle state, right? Like you need momentum to actually slide somewhere. So I don't have to check anything. Like if I'm in this idle state, there's nothing else for me to check than if I'm going into the running state. The jumping is different because it's there's like a yeah, of course, but you don't do it like that in 3D. Of course, you still do the same thing, but you introduce like transition time. So you would like queue up an animation, and then your transitions aren't like instant, right? Like that's just a matter of saying, if I'm going from idle to running, you'll have some sort of interpolation that'll take you from your idle state into the running state, right? And you might use like some factor to play through that initial acceleration or something, right? Like there's a lot of ways to blend animations and do things, but like, yeah, like the point isn't whether you do it immediately or not immediately. The point that I'm getting at is like, yeah, most modern engines will have a way to blend stuff, but like the point is that you're not like, you don't have to do like one flat if this and that, and then nest a bunch of ifs into that, and then if I'm moving on the x-axis, but I'm also I don't know, fuck, but my direction is also that, and if I'm but then pressing the jump key, and then if I'm doing this and that, like if you don't use a state machine where you have this sort of like state-based thing, right? Like where you have like a case. If I'm running, I only check for stuff that's relevant to a person that's running. If you don't do it that way, then you end up with like the other way to write this code is like a bunch of if else ifs that check all these different parameters, and then you just get lost in a bunch of nested if statements, and it just becomes super messy. Here you still have if statements, but like this is way easier to manage than the alternative, right? The idea is that like if I'm running, I'm only checking for these things. So that eliminates, like I said, I might be like sliding on a wall. Well, if I'm sliding on a wall and I press the jump button, then I'm going to go into like the wall jump state, for example, right? Whereas if I'm running and I press the jump button, then I'm going to go from like the running to the jump state, right? And you don't have to then have the running state worry at all about what conditions need to be met to go into the wall jump state. I hope I'm making sense. I'm sort of like blabbing off the cuff, but like you're just segmenting all those checks into their own states. So different things don't have to check for states that don't pertain to them. Can I build? Did it build? Oh, yes. Okay. I was like, where was I at? I need to put... No. No wonder my shit crashed. I'm talking and making dumb mistakes. Protolib, that's my library. And then here... Exactly, yeah. If you're like in state A, and state A can only go into states C and D, then you only have to check for whether the conditions for C and D are met in the case for state A, right? If state A has like, it's better if I'm concrete about it, but I think you're getting it anyways. I don't need to like blab for another half hour. Like if I'm currently in a jumping state, I'm not going to check if the conditions are met to go into a sliding animation, because like you can't slide if you're currently, yeah, if you're currently jumping. And you're also not going to check if the jumping conditions are met, like the button being pressed or whatever, if you're in the jumping state, because you're already up in the air. Why is this fucking crashing? But that's fine. Like that's the whole point of the state machines, is to go from like one state to another. Uh, if you're, sorry, to go from. I'm getting distracted. That's the whole point. Like to go from one animation to another, depending on state. That's fine. Mine is based on a bunch of stuff, right? Like here, where's? Let me guess. This is gonna have to recompile again, or no? Maybe I'm not understanding what you mean by you have it tied to animations. Okay, or just an attack state, right? Okay, but those are just states, right? Like those are not, those can drive animations, but those are just states, right? It's the, your animation can still drive a state. Like you can say at the end of this animation, switch back to the state, right? That's okay, but um, the thing is, like, don't think of the state machine as having to be this big monolithic thing, right? Like you could have a state machine for your gun, and you can have a state machine for your character, and you can have, right? So you don't necessarily need to have like sub states and all this kind of shit. Like you can just have one state for your character, and it drives like how you control the character. But then when you press the attack button, obviously you'll only be able to attack if your character is in like a state that allows attack. But your gun will go from like holstered to like, I don't know, to not, or your sword goes from like sheath to unsheath, and then you attack, and then you run a timer that once you've attacked, you can run a timer that's like 5 seconds, and then once that timer runs out, it can put you back into like the sheath state or something, right? Like, and that could be a completely separate state machine, right, for the weapon system or something. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but along those lines, right? Because it was not found. All right, so fucking build it. Cannot open file. Oh, oh, no wonder. Yes, 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 yes. Because it's like trying to link here. start with the very basic, like you have an enum, your character is in an idle state, you press the jump key. Like my input system and my state machines are not necessarily tied together, right? The way I've done it is I have, and this is gonna get more work, but the way I've done it is like when I press one of these keys for this basic machine here, it changes direction, right? -1, +1, depending on the axis that I'm going. And then if the direction is different than the previous one that the character was in, I send out a direction changed event. And any system that cares about which way the player is moving will receive this event. They can subscribe to it, receive it, and then they can act based on that direction. So if I'm going from 0 to 1 or from 0 to -1, then I'm obviously going from an idle state to a running state. But you don't look at it that way, right? You don't write code that's like if previous.x equals 0 and current.x is not equal to 0. Like you don't want to do that. What you want to do is say like switch state, right? Case idle if direction dot x, right, is not equal to 0. That means my new direction is positive or negative, like I'm moving. Then change state running, right? So now my idle state has the ability to transition into a running state, and that's it. And if I'm in the running state and if direction, I'm obviously this is just pseudocode bullshit, but it's kind of simple. My code is kind of like this. If my direction is 0, then you can go to state deceleration, right? And then in the case of the deceleration state, you can have something that decelerates, and then once your speed reaches 0, your deceleration state can transition you into the idle state. So you can have like go to state deceleration, and then moving into this state could be like change animation deceleration, right? So your character kind of does some weird deceleration dance, and then once you reach a velocity of 0, you've decelerated down to a still state. You can have your deceleration state transition you into the idle state, which will also change the animation into your idle animation, you know, having a smoke. Right? Like anything that you think is a state, you can do that. And you have to remember that the points at which your state machine is acting are the update of the state machine. So while your game runs, there's an update that gets called every tick. And if you're in the idle state, something happens. And if you're in the running state, something happens or whatever. You can have that kind of thing, but also on different events, right? It doesn't all have to be one big chain. Like for me, I have a collision event that my movement system picks up. And then, like I showed you before, if that collision is with something that's on the ground, like I have like a little normal that points up from the ground, if I'm colliding with something under me, then my state machine will react to that and switch me into idle or running, depending on whether I'm holding a key or not. So it'll be like a seamless jumping into running or jumping into idle. So, or it could be like jumping into roll, right? Maybe there was going to be like a tiny little rolling state that can go back into running or back into idle or whatever, right? Like you just use your imagination. So, but that's kind of the crux of what I was getting at the most, is that like you have, I think it was inside this game project, like the player control system. This gets called every single frame, no problem. But also, I have this transition state function that goes and transitions into a new state. And if I'm transitioning to the idle state, it sends out an animation play event into the system, the animation system picks that up, the render system picks that up. Both of those systems react differently, right? Like the animation system will start playing the animation, and the render system will make sure that the right sprites are in place for that to happen. And I can set it to like playback continuous or one shot, right? Like I can choose different animation styles. But yeah, this is my transition state event, and this is just a really simple enum based state machine, right? You could do something much more sophisticated like class state, right? And then you can have like class idle state, and it has like its own update method, and then this is where you check, you know, anything that you need to check in the idle state, and then you might say like transition running, or obviously don't do new if you're doing C++, running state, or just running, and then you might have like a class running state which has its own update like this, and then it has its own checks, right? Like, and this way you could also add stuff like void before transition, and you do some shit, and void after transition, right? And when you transition from one to the other, it'll call these functions. Like if you're transitioning into running, then the runnings before transition will get called, and idles after transition will get called, right? So you can change a bunch of little things before and after to make your life even easier. But really, these things are just a fancy way of doing what I'm doing here. Like if I go from idle to running, my code here is my before transition. Before I transition from idle to running, I could write some like code in here, like print going to run, right? It's that simple. Sometimes it's easier to do things flat with an enum than to write a bunch of scattered classes and jump between a million files, depending on how big your state machine is, right? And you can also expand your state machines more with classes. That's another point. Like you can keep adding different classes, and you don't have to change the central code every time you add a new state. You can just add a new state class, and then whatever states allow you to go into that new state, you can just, like, let's say you haven't added your jumping state, but from idle to running, you can go into jumping. Then you only go and you change those two state classes and add the code to check if you can go into jump. And then that's it. You might have 50 other states like poison state and rolling state and whatever, right? Like you don't have to look at any of that stuff. So it's more extendable if you use classes, but whatever. It's all your code, right? Like you're not writing a framework for somebody. Okay, all right. I keep getting lost because I keep blabbing. I'm enjoying the convo. Don't worry about that. But like, let's see if we can get this server up and running. I still couldn't build, or this thing's just compiling everything every time. Like, no, not that. Okay. gRPC, protobuf, libprotobuf. Probably need these. Target include libraries. Okay. I think I'm going to do this as well. I think I need to do this actually. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I've done it differently because I want to decouple my input events into yeah, you need to introduce some between state transition points, right? That's all. That's why it's because you're obviously immediately changing. Um, what needs to happen is the way I look at it is like you have the where the hell's the chat? The fuck. I like to decouple the movement, or sorry, let me get my thoughts because I'm getting distracted. I want to decouple the input from the actual other systems, right? Like input is the player's intent, right? Like you pressed a button. Cool. That generates messages for other systems to consume, right? Like I want to be able to like change what key does what eventually, right? Like keyboard mappings. Like I want the A button to generate an intent, but then maybe I want to remap the A button from moving left to accelerate, not acceleration, something else, whatever, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is like the input system will check that a key is pressed, look it up against the map. That map will be like, oh, the A key is moving left, and it'll generate a direction change event. The direction change event is actually the thing that's translated the keyboard input into something, into an actual movement. Uh, and the direction change is then what's going to drive is the state that's going to or the raw state that's going to drive the actual state machine, if you follow what I'm saying. So like I don't check the input directly, I check the things that are affected by the input or events generated by the input or whatever that input is mapped to, right? So I have like the K key on my keyboard is the shooting key, or J or whatever. I can't remember which one. I have to start the game. But if you press the shooting key, there's an event that's shooting start, and then if I let it go, there's another event that gets generated called shooting end. So my input system just generates those start and end events, and then my state machine will actually, or the player control system will pick up events of shooting start and shooting end, and it will, whatever state I'm in will be affected by those events, right? Like if I have, here, look, there's jump event, there's shoot begin, and shoot end, right? I don't particularly like the way I've done some of the shooting stuff because it's a sprite sheet for different sprite sheet for different things. It's kind of annoying because I have to be explicit about shooting or running and shooting or airborne and shooting. Like it's kind of stupid. But the bottom line is that like when I start shooting, I can transition. If I'm idle, I transition into just standing and shooting, like just regular shooting. If I'm running, then I can transition into the running and shooting. If I'm airborne, it's the airborne shooting, right? Like, and shooting end is the opposite, right? I go from shooting to idle, right? Like it's so easy to map this and it's so easy to work with it this way. That's why you do state machines, because I'm not going to check for anything other than what can I do in the event that I end shooting and I'm in the shooting state already. Like there's only one thing. I go to idle, right? Like that's all I care about if the event is end and I'm currently shooting. Nothing else for me to think about. And it just maps it out so easily. And that's kind of the power of these state machines, right? Like if you're in the wall grab state, you're sliding along a wall and you press the jump button, there's only one thing you need to check there. If wall grab state and jump button is pressed, then wall jump. And then you go into a completely different jump than the other. You don't have to worry about the regular jump. You only worried about the wall jump. And if you're in a wall jump state, already jumping, then maybe you can grab onto the opposite wall. So you're ping ponging between these states, right? Like you get it. I think you get it. Okay. Did we compile finally? gRPC is why? Is it oh, I know why. Because I'm not gonna do this here. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this in the engine class. Yeah, I'm gonna do that here for now. Because, oops, what the hell did I do? No. I need to fix this. Okay. I see your screens. So you see there's like a little transition. You can't really see it because there's like a little grass texture, but if I'm like running and then I press another key, see it does like a little tiny little short slide. Different than if I just go from a still. This I need to. It's supposed to push you in the direction that the bullet's going, but I haven't put that in. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so if I want this thing to proto, actually that's not going to generate a lib. How is he doing that? Let me see. I should just copy what this guy's doing, like shamelessly. First, I think I need to also link against protobuf. Lib protobuf, okay. I'm gonna separate these as well because they look nicer. And then let's so this will make the binary directory a include directory, so I can include the generated classes. Then I need to compile protobuf. Okay, so get target property, gRPC location. Okay, I'm just gonna copy all of this and let's see what that's doing. So this is going to look for the gRPC C++ code generator. Okay. What happened? Do I have to, cannot find any proto files. What's weird is like, where's he? Oh, because the target is wrong. Proto lib. So this should find some proto files or a proto file, this one, part of that target. And it looks like it did. Beautiful. I love when things just work. Actually, I'm probably going to regret those words. Let me, tooling. This should have generated some code for me now. Engine. Where would it be? Protolib, debug. It's probably not that. Where are, oh, it's probably in the actual binary directory. What the fuck did it, or do I have to build first? No, I already did. CMake files. No, not that. There's nothing in here. How do I preview this thing? Was it this? Yes. Okay. CMake current binary directory. So that's cool. What am I not doing? This should be, unless those files just aren't available. Let me see. Okay, let me see how he's bringing it into the server. The server should just be, okay, he's got a server and it's linking against my proto. Did that add a, no, it did not. Okay, if I link against protolib, which is my, is this going to crash now or is it going to complain? Okay. And then what do you do? What do you include? My proto slash, okay, so I should just be able, I hope it's that easy. That would be amazing. Oh my god, is Visual Studio crashing? Where the fuck is Visual Studio? Okay, we'll let it do its business and see. Like, this should not be crashing. What the fuck, man? Game lib. Okay. That's cool. I don't care. Why is that not linking? What am I not doing? I should be smarter about this. Maybe I should put... No, I don't need to do that. Okay. The thing is, it's like trying to link to this protolib.lib. Which doesn't make any sense. Like, why is it trying to build a... No worries, man. Good chatting with you. Good luck. And hop on again sometime. Cool. I probably need a streaming schedule, but the kid's sleeping, so I get to stream. Let's see what this... This is not an easy way to do it. Paste this into my documentation digestion system, aka Copilot. It should tell me Okay. Let's do this. Let's change. Do I have to change anything else? Okay. This is so weird. All right. CPP, Protos. It's just Protos. My Proto sources. Okay. Protos. Let's do it for this one as well. My Proto sources. Okay. Let's do this. And then here, instead of linking to that, I'm going to link to, I think, just proto sources. It's the compiled proto sources. And then yeah, okay. Where's my add library? It's right there. Yeah, okay. Proto sources and gRPC sources, because this generates something different. Okay, so you don't need this, which makes sense. This will generate a bunch of shit, and then I add a library and tell it to include the shit that this generated, and then I actually can. Did that generate anything? this do anything? Would have been nice for it to give me some like feedback. Okay, well, we'll see when it's done building. Is anybody even on the stream still? Yeah, like nobody's here. Okay, did we finish building? Build failed. Makes sense. Because it's linking against protolib. Wait, what is the problem with protolib though? Okay, I have my sources. If I put some, is this even doing anything? Like, why is that even working? This file doesn't exist. Protobuf. This lists out protobuf render.proto. Tell me this stuff is actually doing something. Okay. It is doing something. Am I doing this wrong? Tell me. Why the fuck is none of this? Did this guy document this? Like, set protofiles. Okay, because his is just super basic. It's relative, but mine. So is mine. Okay. My proto sources. All right. The import? Yeah, like I don't need to fucking look at this massive. Like, I don't even see. See, this is a pet peeve of mine. Like, what kind of example project is this? Like, external project, like a make file's checked in, but they're using CMake. Get the fuck out of here with your shitty examples. CMake and gRPC example. Is there like a not retarded example? What is this? Yes, I'm gonna fetch that. This is what I need to know: how to fetch gRPC. Cloud run. Nope. It's from CMake. Okay. Yay, it's medium. Okay. Find protocol of gRPC. Okay, we got that. Proto import theirs. Generate. Okay. Of course, everything has to be way more difficult in the C++ world. This is probably going to be like one line of code when I switch to the C# side. Fucking idiotic. Let me see. Okay. Import. So it's importers, and that should be. Let's get importing here. I'm gonna do the same thing actually. Okay. Set. What's the other one? The other one is binary dir. It's not really a binary. It's the output directory. Gen dir. Let's do this. Okay. Now. Import dir. Okay, and then proto cout dir. Okay, proto cout dir is going to be my proto gen dir. I need to do the same thing here, I think. Let me see. Import proto C language. Okay, let's see. Does this break anything so far? Called without targets. Protobuf generate called without any targets or source files. Maybe this is the better way to do it. Okay, and now here, I'm just gonna go back to target proto lib, and then this here. Did this generate anything? I have a feeling it didn't generate shit. Yeah, that's a good feeling. Target link library. Okay, I should already have that. Yes. Why is he doing this though? Proto-generated files. Where is this defined? Out. Okay. So after this runs, it should. Is that what I called mine? Or I didn't add that, did I? Outvar. My outvar is okay. So I'm gonna have proto sources and gRPC sources, which I probably don't need to have these separate. Is this actually doing anything though? It's not doing shit. Oh. This is the import directory. That be the problem? I wish you would like give me an error. Tell me like no sources given to target protolib. Okay, so that means that it was finding something there. Cannot find protolib. Okay, good. Is this thing, how is he doing this here? He's current list, blah, blah, blah. Great. Object. What's object? Is that why? What does object do? Oh my goodness, did that actually do what it's supposed to? Sure, it doesn't look like it did anything, but is it in here? Still, what the fuck just happened? T logs. Bunch of empty folders. Super useful. Where's the protolib project? Oh, how about this solution won't have it. How about I add it? Engine protolib. Okay, so this is the project. It looks like it generated some crap for me. That's good. Okay, we made some progress. And it's linked. That means something was generated somewhere. I have no fucking clue where any of this stuff is. I hope people aren't offended. I swear. Hey, hey, hey. This fetch content is for pussies. I didn't see that you were on. Sorry for that. Timestamp would be too much to ask for. I have no idea when you messaged. Okay. So, how do we now include things? I have to, wait, I already have it, don't I? Target include directories, CMake current binary dir, /gen. Let's do that. /gen. So that means that I should what happened? Why did things just no, Visual Studio shit the bed again. Oh god. Okay, if you're gonna restart, restart. Piece of shit. Do I have a gen folder in here somewhere? Gen. Okay, that's where it's supposed to go. Can we get a compilation? Oh. Oh my god, it's already. I'm gonna have to cut the stream pretty soon, I think. Cannot open input file. Okay, fine. Let's just clean. Add existing project. Add my. This is already a member of the solution. I thought I didn't see it in there. Oh no, it is in there. Okay. Okay. Can I build this? Expected type name. Oh. The fuck are you talking about? What am I doing wrong? I wish there was more people on the stream and there were people that knew what the hell protolib is supposed to be doing. Fuck off. Do I have to set a package? Maybe. Oh wait, hey little kitty. There's a kitty. Okay. Okay. So let me. I have no idea what package. Is it package? Yeah, it's just package. We're gonna say engine. No. Let's just call it engine for now. I don't even know what this engine's called. Missing. Oh yeah. This needs a 1. Yes, that's the problem. Now, if I build this building, it's rebuilding. I'll be right back. Oh. Luna, come here. Let's go. Okay. Okay, what happened here? 116, I could not copy game load because it was not found. Because why? Because of that. Can this compile? No. Expected type name. What? God, I can't wait till this. What type name? And why is it like line 12? Is there no... no. Okay. Oh, so you can't have an empty... I see. If I do this, now we should be able to build. Did we build? Was not defined. Okay. Message empty. Oh, no, I have to import. Is this a thing? Can I do this? Oh. Okay. Well, okay. Beautiful. Now, when I build everything else, this should be able to... There we go. Now that works and it gets linked. And this should be able to build as well. I'm doing these one by one just to see the output. And now this should build as well. And the engine can start up. Oh, okay, finally. We were generating source code. And I just love killing this guy. Okay, beautiful. Now if we look at the actual code, there, it generated a bunch of shit for me that I'm not going to read through. Sweet, okay. Now, let's go back to the examples here. Let's look at how to do a server. Let's start a server. Go to the engine. And what we're going to do is we're going to else, should I do it here? It's standalone node. Let's go like that. First, let's include some shit. Better yet, I don't want to recompile this file every time I change something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a browse And boom, boom, tooling. Let's put it in here. And it's going to be called grpc server.h. Good enough. And then let's void start server. It doesn't have to be a class for now. Let's create a definition inside of grpc server.cpp. And let's save, because I know that if I start making changes to this grpc server stuff, it's and if I put it inside of my engine, I'm gonna have to recompile so much crap constantly. So let's just say tooling mode. And I'm gonna say include tooling slash grpc server. Okay, and build. This stuff can all be cleaned up later. Okay, now, sure, reload whatever you want. I can include, let me see, is it gen? Or no, render.pb, I have to include both. Render, okay. grpc, is that what it was? .pb. See, it just recompiles this one file. Oh my god, it's including so much code. Okay, fine. That's good. Start. I'm gonna server, whatever. I can rename stuff later. Okay. Now, I also need to include grpc and grpc server builder. What is it? Server builder. grpcpp. Okay. Now, what are we doing here? All right. So I guess you go class render service, and we're gonna say final. I've never used final in C++. That's interesting. Public. And the package that it generates was engine. Oh my god, hurry up. And render service. Okay. What's the problem here? There is no problem, it's just slow. Okay. And why is this virtual? Why the hell is that virtual? Virtual is something that's meant to be overridden, not something that you're overwriting. It seems to be a thing people don't understand in C++. Okay, well, let's see, get info. What the hell is this guy? What is this guy doing? Why is he putting... So request and response. How do you do... Okay. Passes it by pointer? Why? Okay. My thing is called get info. So we're going to say get info. And we're going to have a server context, I think. gRPC server context. gRPC server context. CTX. Is it by pointer? Yes, it is. CTX. And then, is it gRPC? Is it Google? Empty? How the hell do you actually... Oh, is it just Google? Empty. Okay. Alright, that's good. Request. And then I think this next one is going to be my package. So that's going to be engine render info response. And then return, I think I saw him do okay. Is it a function? It's probably a method that generates that. gRPC status okay. Yeah. Excuse me. Let's have a look. Now that this shit is all linked up, how big is the engine with gRPC included? It's not that much bigger. That's good. How big are these files here? Okay, that's amazing. I thought this was going to be huge. It's not. I'm a happy boy. That's good. It's linking properly. Okay, so now that I don't even know if I'm talking to anybody but myself, to be honest. Is anybody even? Oh, great, spam. Okay, so if you wanted all right, let's look at this. How many times do I have to use this? Okay, gRPC server builder. Don't need to specify. Okay, builder. Add listening port. I don't think it matters at all, but I'll copy what this guy's doing. gRPC insecure credentials, okay, gRPC insecure credentials, perfect. Is that a method? Yes, it is. Okay. What? Okay, we obviously don't want that. What we want is to do this on the heap. Builder.register. Here's what we'll do. Okay. Do this. Okay, anytime. Is that not a public method? PC server. Oh, of course. Okay. That's going to be a little bit better to work with. Actually, let's make this a little nicer so that I'm not just using this generic server name. And then here we'll say, okay, start. Like, what takes so long to navigate? And it still doesn't navigate. Okay, whatever. Let's try to build. No, it's not going to build. No, what I need to do is gRPC server. So give this a default constructor. Holy Visual Studio, man, hurry up. Fucking slow. Unbelievable. Let's do this. It will be an open source engine, yeah. I mean, the repos aren't exactly in a state where people can use them just yet, but it's all on GitHub. Pretty sure it's all public too. I should double check. Render service. Does this have a constructor that I need to give a shit about? No. Okay. And now register service, and I can just pass my pointer. It's the builder. Yes. Builder dot register service, and I'll say render service dot get. Just give it the pointer, and so this returns. Okay, so here's what we'll do. And I'm going to also hang on to std unique pointer gRPC server. I'm going to forward declare that because I don't want any of the gRPC stuff leaking. I'm going to say server. And okay. And how do you make it? Builder.build and start. So this thing's just wrapping it. Oh. So this thing returns a unique pointer. Okay. Server equals turns a unique pointer to gRPC. We should be able to build. I'm actually, Can you not? What? Can you not have the incomplete type? Really? So the thing that's holding it, this is where smart pointers aren't exactly the smartest. Let me see. Is it because the thing that's holding it can be copied so it doesn't like that? Yes. No. Okay. I'm so confused. What is the problem? Okay, well, how's this? I don't give a shit. Like, I jump through hoops just to avoid writing a fucking delete. I think I'll have to do it with the other one too. What? What? Oh my god. God. Visual Studio is a nightmare. Oh, it's because I built that shit for release mode. Guarantee you. Oh, I don't feel like rebuilding everything. I guarantee that if I do this, I don't think there's anyone left on the stream, anyways. Yeah, okay. End stream.